I'm waiting. Let me introduce Kalani Hou. I asked him to come and help me. He's a canoe man, yeah? And they do a lot of lashing, a lot of tying, so there's some expertise in that field. So thank you for coming, Kalani. And let me talk a little bit more about the holiday, yeah? Obviously, when the Hawaiians first came here, there weren't any houses waiting for them, right? But they did have the skills of where they came from. Yeah. They had to adapt and learn what kind of trees grew here, what kind of thatching material was available, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it took a while for them to adapt with the materials available. But they had the skills. So anyway, they first lived in whatever shelters they could find. Many of them lived in caves, yeah? Initially, a lot of caves on this island, many caves. So they used that for their dwelling, protection. And then a lot of lean-tos or under the trees or whatever, yeah? Temporary shelter. In time, they started to build the holly when they knew what kind of wood was available. So if you look at this holly, they're all in parts, yeah? They all fit in one place, and they all lash together. This becomes one unit. Yeah? That's how they did things. Yeah? So when they built the holly, they always started with the corner posts, both corner posts, and always on the back side. They always work on the back forward. Yeah? The word for post in Hawaiian is pou, P-O-U, pou. And there were several kinds of posts. There were the corner post, which is the pou-kihi. Everybody said pou-kihi.
Pou-kihi.
Got it. And the ones in between had different names. I don't know all the names, but I call these pou-kokua, but they're helping. And they have the pou-hana. The pou-hana is the tall one. Hana, the working pole, the one that holds, the main pole that holds the structure together. That's the center post. Okay? They notched everything so they could fit together. Okay? If you look on the top there, there's a cutout like a concave like this. That's called a waha mouth. They have it here also. This one has, the haulis call these tenon, yeah? Tenon. Hawaiians call it uli. And it's in writing. Hawaiians were not ashamed of their body parts. Okay? Yeah. It became shame when the missionaries came and told them that's shame, put on clothes, hide your private parts. Okay. This portion, it slips in here. It's called a kohe. We all know what that means. I don't need to explain that. But they fit all together, yeah? This portion is called the awai. This is to help in lashing. Yeah? To tie everything together. Okay. On top of the post, or the pole, goes how it's called is beam or plate. And don't feel offended if I say haole, please. I don't mean it derogatorily. Okay? It's just a word that we use all our lives. So please don't feel offended. This is called by the haole plate or beam. Hawaiians call this lohe lau. Lohe lau. I'm sorry to bore you with the part, but you know, if I'm only going to teach you half, then no sense teaching. Yeah? And the upper one is called the kauhuhu. Now, where this, oh, I'm sorry. This one here is called the oa. It's a rafter, yeah? How is called that rafter? And it rests on the kauhuhu. This one here. Okay, this is only half. You had the other half, another one would meet this one here. And where they met, and they had the kauhuhu on top, where they met, they put another one on the top, horizontal piece, which is called kua iole. Kua iole, kua is bat, iole is rat. If you look at a rat, the back is kind of arched, slightly arched. And when they built the structures, they always made a slight arch with a weight. Eventually everything will settle down, yeah? But anyway, those are the parts. And then we get into how we call these purlins, yeah? Purlins, horizontal pieces. And we call that aho and aho fuel. These are made for the thatching material, something to tie on, yeah? Okay. I forget the name of the uprights, but they took whole, and there were thatching purlins and fixed purlins. Fixed purlins are usually the larger size. They would be tied to the pole and the oa. The little ones were not tied to that. They were tied to the uprights. And you know, if you wanted to take them apart, you just cut that one off, cut this one apart, you can carry the whole piece off. Do a new one and put it back if you wanted to. So, pretty smart. But you said when the Hawaiians came here, they had to adapt, they had to learn the different trees and material that was available. They used several woods for the hale construction, the posts. They use, you can't find these today in the proper sizes anymore, but they use uhi, rare wood, very hard. They use a'ali'i, very hard. You get plenty along the highways for the flour, for the, but not in the proper sizes. You don't see that anymore. Uhi, a'ali'i, naio, there's naio in the park. Naio was another one. Mamane was another one. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the trees, but these are the names that I learned and I remember, and they're in some of the books, the type of woods that trees that the Hawaiians used to use. And if they're gonna do the main structure, all the framework, they never mix the wood. For the purlins, they use also ohia, they use even bamboo, they use ule. They can, it's okay to mix the purlins with the main framework. But the framework was all the same wood. The purlin was all the same. On this island there's not too much dirt or sand, right? Mostly rock. So if you look around on this island, most of the hale were built on elevated stone platforms. Anywhere from a foot to 3 feet depending on the terrain. Yeah. So when they built, build a small rock platform over here with a hollow, and they would set the post and lock it in place. They would go to the net. When they were done, then they would level off the whole pai we call it, whole pai. But the reason it's elevated is to hold the post in place. I mean, that's simple, right? You cannot build with just on the ground. If you were to just stand the post on the ground, it's not going to stay. The whole structure is going to fall. Right? So it had to be supported by stone, or they had to dig a hole in the ground. Like some islands have a lot of dirt and stuff. They would dig a hole and set the post in the ground, and pack it with dirt or sand or little ili or whatever. Pack it. On the hale, there was a specialist for the cap, the top. Only he knew how to do that. There weren't very many of those guys around. And then the kahuna would call him to do that final stage of the construction. Also at the doorway, the thatching, wherever the doorway was, all the grass would hang over, and there was a specialist who would come over there, a kahuna would come and trim it and do the prayer, blessing the house. They had specialists for many fields. Of course, you go way out in the country, some families would just build their own. Yeah? They never had specialists around. They just had to fetch for themselves. You know,